Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Virtual Drift Masters. My name is Jonathan Tiny Warbe. I hope you guys are happy to be here. We're at Mondello Park Circuit, and with me, we have my partner in crime, Craig. How you doing, Craig? I hope you're doing well today, man.
Absolutely. I am excited for round two here at Mondello Park. This is going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, Mondello Park is a very iconic track, and especially when it comes into multiple different competitions here, Drift Masters especially, you have a bunch of different types of zones out here that they have to kind of fluctuate in different aspects of the car driving aspect. So what are you going to be looking for as a commentator here?
There's a few areas to really pay attention to here. The entry to this course is really tricky. We got a little bit of extra room here, I think, on the virtual side of things, but drivers need to be tight to that inside clip, and it sets them up for that next outside zone. And then leaving outside zone two, the judges don't want to see those drivers adding too much angle leaving that zone, and then headed to the next one. So another one to look out for. They want them to really be gaining momentum towards that latter half of the course.
Yeah, it's definitely compared to the first round. This track, you're going to see a lot closer tandems and more angle, more aggression from the chase driver. You're going to be a very close niche. This whole competition is brought to you by MetaPro and G2A. I am so happy to see you guys in chat. We'll be checking out the chat throughout the competition. These guys are out here throwing down some heaters, and we also have some Drift Master drivers out here competing to get to the top dog at this track. Man, I'm looking at these practice laps. We got some of these rounds going on. We're at round two. There's going to be 6 rounds in total. The next track is going to be in Finland, but we're in Ireland right now for Mondello and Kildare. And another thing that we have here is the grand prizes that we have. Every round, someone comes home with a cash prize, but the grand prize in total. What do you think, Craig? What do you think about that? How are you feeling as a driver?
It's insane. I mean, it's something I wanted to do myself last year. Take a trip out to Warsaw, Poland for that last and final round in that crazy stadium. I mean, it gave me chills just over the live stream.
Yeah, and right now you see the season standings with Zach O'Sullivan leading the pack at 105, but that's only one round. You got Darius Ostraka, Jaku in second place. Darius Ostraka is in third, and it's anybody's ball game right there. We got a couple of guys still a little bit lower on points, or some people that haven't gotten points in this season standings. But this is our top 16 for this year. These guys are out here shredding. And right here, we also have the prize pool. Like we said earlier, the first place gets 1,500 euros for each round. Second place, 1,000 euros. Third place gets 500. And for the top 3 of the season, 3,000 euros for first, second. In second place is 2,000. Third place is 1,000. With the grand prize for the first place winner going to Poland. Now we have a bunch of different layouts here in different rounds, but right here you're gonna see our track layout. You're gonna have interclip 2 gonna be a very spicy start for the initiation, trying to close in that gap going into outer zone 2 and outer zone 3. It's gonna be insane. Now we have these the track layout right here. You have the guys coming up, running up to the line, initiating into the outer zone 1, getting a nice angle, diving into inner clip 2, all the way to outer zone 3, and filling that out. A little bit of you got to fill that out as much as possible. Then there's a little decel to outer zone 4, going all the way around, and here comes a little bit of a power alley to outer zone 5, and then going straight to that wall. This is probably where we're going to see a little bit of the mistakes of wall taps on that final outer zone, going to the final outer zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Drivers really need to be careful there in those areas with the walls and set themselves up nicely along those white lines indicated for those track edges, except for outside zone 2. It does go a little bit farther there, giving a little bit extra room. But man, this is going to be an exciting one. And look at the bracket.
Dude, the bracket, we were talking about this earlier. These battles on this bracket, these are final or top 4 battles, and almost every top 32 battle here. It's insane.
Yeah, it certainly is. Tarasov and Trevino is going to start us off today. And then we've got Taylor and Patrick right behind them. Some crazy battles coming up.
Yep, we got Darius Austriaca, Sandman, Andrzej versus Paolo Korpelinski. Reese Tatterson versus, oh my God. I'm excited for this whole thing, man. It's going to be insane. We have the judges getting ready, getting situated, grabbing their... All right, we're back out here at Mondello. I know a lot of people have been checking out the track. A lot of people have been messaging me like, hey, can I get the track? You go to vdm.gp. You could download the app, join on the servers, and enjoy the tracks. These guys have done a fantastic job making these layouts. On the virtual side, is also helping out some of the IRL drivers, the real world drivers, to compete. We've seen a lot of our guys just straight shredding with some Drift Masters competitors and pilots. So, Greg, as a spotter, you're a spotter for a Formula Drift driver, which is awesome. How often do you guys are in the simulator and being able to kind of figure out what you need to do on tracks, especially going to the next round?
Well, it depends on the track as well. Not all of them, come in to play with them being super accurate. You can, get an idea here and there. But for those.
Yeah, we got Stanislav Tarasov in the lead. Luis Trevino in the chase. Here he comes with a nice initiation from Stanislav. Going into the first inner clip. Outer zone 2 is fantastic from Stanislav. And here's Luis Trevino diving in, cutting the track just slightly to keep that proximity. Going into that third and fourth outer zone. Now's that wall ride going all the way to the final outer walls and going to the final outer zone. Whoa, that was insane.
What a start to the top 32, just out of nowhere. Tarasov out front, getting a little bit ahead here. Nice initiation, and look at that in that chase position. Quite the bobble there through turn 1. They continue on though. Tarasov just riding that track edge. Nice angle going into that next outside zone and into this one for that wall ride, keeping things going. But there they are, nice and door to door across that finish line, and we'll switch them up for the second half of their battle here in the top 32.
That is absolutely crazy. And these guys are they're not driving with controllers, they're driving with a whole sim rig setup, wheel and everything, handbrake, the whole 9 yards. You're gonna have these guys line back up. It's going to be switching sides. If you've never seen a drift competition, you have one lead lap and you have one chase lap. So we have seen Stanislav take his lead lap. Now he's going to be at the chase. As a driver, you got to figure out what you're going to be doing to kind of compete and get to the top portion of this battle. So we have Luis Trevino in the lead. We have Stanislav Tarasov in the chase. Luis Trevino, nice initiation, huge angle, a little bit shallow on that inner clip 1. Outer zone 2 is fantastic from Luis Trevino. Locks in, throttles out, and then uses some left foot braking to pivot that car around to outer zone 3 and 4. And then here comes that snappy transition to the final outer zones. Luis Trevino is just hucking it in there, but Stanislav Tarasov is reaching into that center console and switching the iPod.
Let's take another look at it. Trevino, I think, trying to make up for his couple of mistakes there in his chase. He does have one through that inside clip, goes wide for it, but then nails the rest of the course. Does go a little wide there, maybe hanging a wheel off of that track edge, keeping things going though. And then, as you pointed out, that snappy transition into this next outside zone. There they go across that finish line, but I think Tarasov might have done enough there to seal the deal.
Yeah, especially I'm pretty sure that spotter was like, "Hey, you need to door him. You need to go right at it. Don't leave it to the judge's hands. Is make it obvious that you want to move on and you have the better lap." So the judges are going to be looking over the replays, and what we were saying before: lead lap, chase lap, lead lap. You need to have a chaseable run so that chase car can get up to you, get close. So having a good lead lap is actually kind of a gift and a curse.
Yeah, it sure is. You kind of open the door for yourself to be chased, door to door throughout the entire course. But at the same time, that's what we all want to see. That's what we all came here for. I think that's a big reason why it's so line focused here in this competition. Line leads to great battles when the chase driver knows that lead driver is, going to do what they're supposed to do and run the course in a particular way. It leads to really close tandems, as we just saw there.
Yeah, and I loved one thing I did enjoy watching the battle is watching people just lock in and just commit to each zone and just fluidity. Luis Trevino, when he was going to outer zone from outer zone 2 to 3, you just saw the weight transfer of that car and just lock in, and he throttled all the way through. That was so clean. I loved it. And for you guys that are watching, yes, this is virtual. We do have the judges' decision, and it is looking like
that track edge nicely. Does kind of angle up just a little bit before the transition, but keeping things going is both of them right into this next outside zone and across that finish line, rubbing doors.
oh my goodness. It's insane to see this kind of competition and kind of like finesse from these drivers. Brandon Patrick did a fantastic job in the chase, and now Anthony Taylor spotter is like, hey, you need to be on them like glue, white on rice, brown sugar on cinnamon toast crunch, whatever you want to say. But here we go. We got Brandon Patrick in the lead, and we have Anthony Taylor in the chase. Here we go. Brandon Patrick with that F22, very smooth and consistent. Let's see how Anthony Taylor comes out here. Coming in with a nice initiation, diving in. Oh no, hucks a little bit too much into that first outer zone. And that's a big mistake from Anthony Taylor, as Brandon Patrick needs to finish his lap as smooth as possible, going all the way through with that Pennzoil F22. Going to his final 2 zones, Brandon Patrick is doing a great job in the lead.
Yeah, Brandon throwing down on that initiation, and we'll take another look at it here on the replay from the drone. Nice and snappy, and really throwing that chase car of Taylor off. They continue on though. Nice transition into outside zone 3 now. Brandon Patrick riding that track edge as he should. Great transition across. And there, applying the pressure is Taylor in that chase position, continuing on, giving him a little tap across that finish line.
Man, that drone pilot did a fantastic job. It's cool to see in the virtual side, you have all aspects of drifting competitions. You have the judging, you have the battles, you also have the drone pilots. These guys are out here with the mod to make sure that the camera is flying like a drone. They actually use it for practice. It's pretty insane.
It really is. A few drone pilots have popped up through the Seto community, and they're all crazy. It does take a skill though to rein it in and keep it super smooth through battles like this, so the judges can really use that information rather than some of the tricks and stuff that might be cool for a video. But it's rough to keep it smooth, and we have a decision.
Yeah, Luis Trevino on the right. Actually, excuse me, we got our judges figuring out what these guys are. It's gonna switch it up real quick. We're getting that taken care of, but the drone pilots are insane. I love them out here, and it looks like Brandon Patrick gets the win and moves on. Got a little technical difficulty. It's all good, but now we have Ethan Petraku out here versus Gert Kubarset. I think I said that right. Gert, if I said it wrong, I'm sorry. We're talking about it. Gert is a new competitor that I have yet to see compete in the sim world. Doesn't mean that he's not great, because he just made qualifying into the show out of 70 drivers out here. Ethan Petraku, VDC driver, in the lead with that A90 Supra. Gert coming out here with that E36, diving into the pocket of Ethan Petraku. Ethan Petraku goes through the first 3 zones as smooth as possible. Gert is just diving in, use some left foot braking to keep that proximity and be as consistent as possible, just tapping that brake. And then all of a sudden, Ethan Petraku is just filling out each zone as best as he could be and as smooth as he could be.
Yeah, Ethan doing a good job out front, but I don't know if you got it on your end, but it looked like a little bit of lag there on the first transition, and maybe even a little bit of contact there across that initiation. Here comes that transition. Yeah, even from the drone it happens. Ethan goes just a little bit wide coming into outside zone 3, but they keep things going nicely with Kubarset in the chase right there with him, following him nicely. Maybe a small bobble there from Ethan before crossing that finish line, but an overall good start to this battle.
I also love how Gert was unfazed by maybe that little connection issue. Some of these drivers, if they do have a significant connection issue, it can cause the forced contact, but Gert was able to power through, be consistent with the proximity, that it didn't affect him, so that's a great thing. Now we have Gert in the lead, and we have Ethan Petraku in the chase. Here we go. Gert with the E36 coming in and is just getting as much speed as he needs, going into that first outer zone and inner clip money all the way through, real smooth on that initiation, going to outer zone 3. But here comes Ethan Petraku, just diving into the pocket and lighting it up all the way through the track. Gert is just filling out each zone, using some left foot braking on that second to last outer zone. My goodness.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so let's take another look at this replay, a good second half to this battle. Good initiation, a little step, could have had maybe a little bit more angle through turn one, but he does check all the boxes. He gets the inside clip, he fills the next outside zone, leaves outside zone 3 a little bit early though. Ethan getting choked off just a little bit, but there, another bobble in that chase position through that outside zone. This is maybe going to be a tough one to call here.
It might be a tough one to call. I love both of these drivers so far. Gert, this is the first time me seeing him compete. The initiation was real smooth. Didn't need a crazy angle. He was like, you know what? I'm just going to huck it in there. Keep nice and consistent going into inner clip 1, carry that momentum to outer zone 2, and then just filling out each zone as much as possible. Ethan Petraku is very, very spicy when he comes into angle compared to Gert.
Yeah, I think so, especially through turn 1. And as we saw with the other battles as well, a lot more angle being held through turn 1 versus maybe a little bit of understeer from that chase position of the E36. But it looks like we might have a decision here.
And it's looking like it is going to be a one more time, our first one more time battle out here. We're going to have these guys pit up and get ready to compete. The great thing about virtual series, you don't have to wait for them to switch tires. They just go right to the pits, and then they have fresh tires to go to this next battle. So this is going to be exciting.
Yeah, fresh tires, fresh car.
Yeah.
And I think certainly a fair call there. Definitely back and forth with those mistakes. And as I've said before, it's really a game of mistakes and who makes the least amount of them.
Yeah, now we have Ethan Petraku in the lead now. So for the people who have never watched a drift battle, when the decision is too close to call, the judges will deem this a one more time, so they're going to run it back. So Ethan Petraku is going to run a lead lap, and Gert is going to run a chase lap. Then they switch sides again. Here we go. The lights are green. Ethan Petraku with that A90 Supra, also known as Pikachu, out here, coming in with a nice initiation, possible contact on that initiation, or maybe Gert slowed down enough so he didn't have that contact. Going to the outer zone 2 and 3, Petraku is filling out the zone. Nice angle. Gert is being super aggressive in the chase and just diving in as close as possible all the way through to outer zone 3, 4, and 5, all the way into the final outer zone. Good Lord.
Yeah, they asked for one more time, and they are giving them one. We'll take another look here on this replay. Big initiation from Ethan out front, grabbing that inside clip, filling the next outside zone. Nicely done here in outside zone 3 this time from Ethan. And look at there, a little bit of wheel rubbing, leaving that zone. And here we come down into the next one, filling it all the way with good angle this time. No bobbles out front. And from that chase position as well, they cleaned it up.
Oh man, they're not making it easy so far for the judges. But Gert did a great job being as spicy as he could be and trying to force some pressure on Ethan Petraku in the chase. If you have a good chase lap in the lead lap is going to be a little bit easier. So we have Gert now in the lead, Ethan Petraku in the chase. Gert coming out here. Gert is the E36 in the lead car, coming in with a nice initiation, diving in, similar initiation, very consistent, use some left foot braking to go to outer zone 2, and then going to outer zone 3, angles up. Ethan Petraku is diving in, getting as close as possible. Ethan Petraku is diving as much as possible and rubbing the tire on the door. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think they made it easier here with this battle. Taking another look here at the second half, again, of the one more time battle between these two. Ethan throwing it in right on the door there as they continue on. Could have been maybe a little closer on that transition, but out front, that E36 locked into outside zone 3. Nicely done for 4 and into 5 along that wall, picking up throttle right on that track edge. Maybe a little bit more angle out front than Ethan, but Ethan pushing him across that finish line. Another tough call between these two. This time, yeah, I'm not sure.
This is insane. And it goes into, I am happy I'm the commentator and not a judge, you know. It makes it a lot difficult decisions over here, but we have a decision. Slide him left for Petraku, slide him right for Gert. And Ethan Petraku gets the win and moves on. Our VDC Pro driver going on to the top 16.
That really could have went either way. Good job from Gert.
Gert definitely just went against a Titan, and that was just an absolute battle. Next, we have Linus Turnquist and Alexander Jaegerd. Linus out here with that E36 as well, and we have Jaegerd out here with the 180SX. Some of these guys out here running the 180SX are really spicy in their lead laps and chase laps. So we'll see Linus out here running his lead lap, and Alexander coming in to try to dive in. Right, huge angle, loses that proximity from Linus, and Linus is just trying to fill out each zone. Big mistake from Alexander on that initiation, but he is reeling him back in. A little bit of contact on outer zone 4 in transition, going into the final outer zones. Linus Turnquist is unfazed and just fighting through.
Yeah, an interesting first half to that battle. It looked like maybe both of them had not so great connection. As we take another look here on the replay, let's take a look there. Washing out in that chase position. As they make that first transition, jumping back onto the door, filling that next outside zone, outside 3, and then yeah, a little bit of contact there. Maybe due to some net code, they continue on either way. Yeah, another little push there before crossing that finish line, but it didn't look like they were, you know, ultra close to really cause that contact. So an interesting one.
Yeah, and especially when it comes into him being on the chase, I think he was just using too much more speed and momentum that caused that. Like, he didn't give him enough room for that transition. But now we have Alexander Jaegerd in the lead and Linus Turnquist in the chase. Let's see how Linus is gonna be trying to keep that proximity and trying to have a great successful chase lap. Alexander in that 180 coming in. Nice initiation, going into that first outer zone. Use some left foot braking to get into that inner clip in outer zone 2, all the way into outer zone 3. Beautiful transition, and Linus is going right there, diving in and staying right next to Alexander throughout the whole track, mirroring him throughout outer zone 5, 6. Wow.
Yeah, nicely done in that chase position. As we take another look here on the replay from the drone, Alexander Jaegerd out front, good initiation, picking up throttle quickly, grabs that inside clip, but that chase position right there, bumper to bumper from Tornvis as they continue on, leaving outside zone 3 into 4. Nicely done, and another big dive into this long outside zone. A little shove there from that chase position, and there they go across that finish line, finishing out their top 32 battle.
Man, and it looks like the judges have made a decision right here. Slide him left for Turnquist. Slide him right for Jaegerd. Unanimous for Turnquist. Is moving on to the top 16. My goodness. We have our
mistakes there in that chase position from Alexander Jaegerd, and then just nicely done in that chase position from Tornvis. He gets the win and moves on.
And now we have Ernestus Jacu Bellis gonna be in the lead, and our two-time, and I repeat, two-time DCGP champ Krzysztof Rapina coming out here in the chase. If you know what two-time means, I hope you do. It would be make me giggle. But here we go. Here we go. Ernestus Jacu in the lead, 890 Supra, one of the top 3 from last round. Going in, nice initiation with that 890 Supra, but Krzysztof Rapina is diving into the pocket right off the rip. Not phased that he made a absolute monster initiation. Jacu is just filling out each zone unfazed from the chase driver, and here comes Krzysztof just diving in. Escuco livery versus Uerta all the way through. Wow.
My goodness gracious. What a start to this top 32 battle between these two. We knew it was going to be crazy, and they showed up. Look at the initiation there from Rapina in that chase position, keeping things going after washing out maybe just a little bit, while Ernestes fills this next outside zone nicely into 4 here, all the way up to that track edge and all the way to the wall there after that transition. They continue on door to door all the way through that long outside zone and across the finish line.
Jeez, that was absolutely bonkers. Now we have Krzysztof Rapina going to be in the lead, and Jaku is going to come back in the chase. Let's see if Jaku answers back. Krzysztof is going to be in that 180SX. Jaku is going to be in the 890 Supra. Krzysztof coming in with a nice Scandinavian flick in that first outer zone, going into that interclip 1. Beautiful fill out on each of those zones. And here comes Jaku diving in, trying to mirror the pocket of Krzysztof all the way through into the final 2 outer zones. Krzysztof is filling him out, and here comes Jaku being as spicy as he can be to try to move on.
Yeah, another tough one for the judges here in the top 32. Let's take another look. Rapina out front. Good initiation, picking up throttle quickly. Maybe a little tighter to the inside clip he could have been, but Ernestes jumping right onto the door here in outside zone 3, riding it nicely, dropping back for this transition right along the bumper through both of them as they work their way into outside zone 5, right along that wall and almost getting pushed across that finish line.
And we got these guys out here just having a good time. Jaku is out here and just feeling himself after that podium from last round, carrying the momentum. We got slide him right for Rapina, and we got slide him left for Jaku. And it's Jaku getting the win and moving on to the top 16. It's gonna ruffle up and move some points.
Yeah, it sure will, and nicely done there in that tough top 32 battle.
Man, that was a insane battle there, and now we have Vestemanis versus Devin Fancher. Armand Vestemanis. Armand's for the Drift Chat livery. And you have Devin Fancher representing the AOM guys. Coming in here. Here we go. Devin Fancher is going to be in the chase. Armand's in the lead. It is looking like a side-to-side initiation from Devin. Kind of struggling on that proximity for that first 2 zones. But here comes Devin just diving in, being as close as possible all the way through the outer zone 3 and 4, and Armand's is just filling out your zones a little bit mid-line on the second to last zone.
Yeah, really applying the pressure though in that chase position and going after it on the initiation as well. We take another look here, maybe using a bit too much course out front from that lead driver as they continue on filling outside zone 2. Nicely done for 3 as well, but getting a little shove there from that chase position. They continue on into 4, down into 5. Now the big long outside zone and another shove there from that chase position. They continue on and finish out the first half of their top 32 battle.
Yeah, and when you're looking at these battles, the chicanes are supposed to force, so it's not a drag race going into that first initiation. That chase driver could kind of sit back a little bit, so he could initiate at the right time to stay close proximity. It seemed like Devin Fancher was a little bit too fast off the line, but we'll have him at the lead. And we have Armand's in the chase. Racing Team Riga coming out here. and trying to show up and throw down. Devin Fancher, nice initiation on that first outer zone. Second outer zone is good. And Devin Fancher is just filling out outer zone 3, a tire drop possibly going into outer zone 4. Nice transition. Here comes Armand's just using the left foot braking to keep that proximity. Throttle modulation is on par as well.
Yeah, nicely done in the second half of this top 32 battle. Devin out front with a good initiation here as we take another look. Nicely done, picking up throttle tight to that inside clip, just on a perfect line through turn 1, and that's nice snappy transition into outside zone 3 as well. Right along that track edge, they continue on for 4 and down into 5, right along that wall, and there now the pressure being applied in that chase position from Armand's.
Great laps from both of these drivers. That BMW looks very clean with that purple and black, the F22, and you have that GT86 with that Racing Team Riga livery. It is not the RTR that a lot of people are used to from Formula Drift. It's Racing Team Riga. And we are looking at the judge's decision. Slide him left for Amon. Slide him right for Fancher. And unanimous. Fancher gets the win and moves on to the top 16. Beautiful performance from both drivers.
Yeah, drivers showing up today here in the top 32. This is insane.
Now we have another Battle of Titans. We have Danielis versus Artem. I call Artem Artie because he comes out here and just lays down artillery suppressing fire on some of these tracks. It's insane.
I thought you were going to say he was a little artsy.
Oh, no. I did go to art school, but I had more experience with the military. So Artem Chokov out here, he's going to be in the lead. 180 SX battle here is going to be awesome to see. Danielis is going to be in the chase. Let's see how he performs. Artem Chokov coming in. Oh, some contact, and Artem gets a little, it might have been connection issue as Artem is filling out each zone as clean as possible after that little contact. But here comes Danielis all the way through, keeping close proximity, using some left foot braking to stay in the pocket all the way through to the final outer zone.
Yeah, an interesting one there. Let's really take another look here along this initiation. Yeah, that's a tough one there. Maybe judges can see if that lead stayed in throttle and continued with their momentum on server side. But definitely some contact going into that first turn and then sending that lead car super wide. They continue on anyway, like nothing ever happened, and ended up with an okay run. But it's gonna come down to that contact once we get to that judge's decision.
Yeah, I actually enjoy when drivers, like, even they'll fight through contact. They won't like just go off track, and they'll actually fight through it, especially on the sim. Go through the whole lap, have a good one, and let's see who could fill out each zone better. But now we have Danielis gonna be in the lead, and Artie in the chase. Danielis coming out here. It's nice speed and momentum. Here comes Artie diving in right off the rip, getting door to door through the first 3 zones. Going out outer zone 3. Danielis is filling it out. Here's Artie just laying down suppressing fire to outer zone 4. Oh my goodness, just keeping that close proximity, rubbing the tire on his door all the way through. Oh, mercy.
Going after it, maybe going a little harder than he had to, as we take another look here. Almost some contact
Mhm.
quite the same right there, but no contact. They continue on. Nicely done out front from Parangauskas. They make their first transition bumper to bumper, and Chokov just reeling him in and shoving him through outside zone three. He backs off for the transition, dives right back in for outside zone fives, gives him a shove in it, and they continue on finishing out the second half of their run.
Jesus. Wow. That was insane. Here we go. Slide him left for Artie. Slide him right for Danielis. And it goes to Danielis. Gets the win and moves on. Wait. Hold. Yep. It looks like Danielis gets the win. Moves on. Might get the decision later. The judges' critiques on it, on why that decision was made.
Yeah, I think it really does just come down to that contact in that first half. My guess would be that they saw that Chokov wasn't continuing on with his momentum and led to that contact before the initiation.
Yeah, and we're getting our first buy run. We have Alexander Element from the Bitlook team moving on to the top 16. There's no opponent as Alexander is filling out the track. We'll let him talk and show his skill. Wow, that was an insane lap. Just showing it off right there.
Yeah, good practice run for him as well.
And now that was our first half of our top 32 bracket. That was our left side. We got our brackets lined up. We're going to be refreshing. What we do is refresh the server and get our next half of the bracket. And it's going to be a super exciting half because we got some heavy hitters as well on this side. Definitely want to thank our sponsors out here, the G2A, our primary sponsor, and MetaPro, our tech sponsor. They've been helping us out on getting this virtual Drift Masters out here. And you have the social medias of Drift Masters where we are out here showing down and throwing down. We're going to be looking at the drivers coming out here. They're doing some practice laps. This whole layout, man, it's a crazy. It's not crazy technical, but super smooth.
I think it can be in certain areas. Like turn one, it just takes so much commitment, especially on the real side of things. It's maybe even a little off camber. I think through around that inside clip. You come over the little hump as well. It's a ton of commitment there. You got to lay on that throttle as well and keep things going for outside zone two, so you don't fall off the track.
For sure.
Any little tentativeness that you have there can lead to some bad things. We've seen some people go off there at outside zone two a little bit too wide and really catch the car and throw it around a bit, and then coming down into that latter half of the course, that Manji section, and then setting yourself up on those wall runs as well. A lot of commitment, a little bit of technicality throughout this course for sure.
Yeah, and this is the experience you guys are gonna get if you are ever in a Assetto lobby. Right here is the culmination of what you will see on any VDC or any kind of pro style lap layout. You'll see a bunch of guys just tandeming with each other and just linking the track, and then sometimes you'll have them weaving between each other. It's pretty cool to watch whenever I'm out here just hanging out.
Yeah, for sure. Community still going strong after all these years is insane.
Yeah, it's that's one of my favorite things about the Assetto community, that these guys come out here, even in the private lobbies, but even going into the VDC public lobbies, you have some guys that will be driving these crazy prospect cars. But here we go. Darius Ostraka in the lead. Simon Sandman in the chase. Darius Ostraka, another guy that podium last round. Let's see how he performs. Nice initiation in that first outer zone. Getting a midline on that inner clip, but here comes Simon Sandman trying to dive into the pocket and getting that fill out. As Darius Ostraka on the outer zone 3 and 4. Beautiful transition from both of these drivers all the way through outer zone 5 and 6 doors.
Yeah, another crazy start to a top 32 battle as we go back to the replay, the drone cam here. Darius Ostraka throwing that super in and looking good. A little bit wide of inside clip 1, but fills outside zone 2 nicely, and 3 as well. But look at there, Sandman in that chase position, door to door, bumper to bumper through both of these transitions in the mind you section, down into outside zone 5 now, all the way up along that wall and door to door across that finish line.
Yeah, man, Darius Ostraka is another class act. We talked last week that his brother, not last week, last round, Darius versus Martinez battles are crazy to see, but even when you're looking at this kind of battle, it's very similar to what you're seeing here. You're gonna see Darius now in the chase, and you got Simon Sandman in the lead. Simon Sandman has been an absolute monster as well in the sim community. Here he comes, Simon Sandman. Nice initiation, that first outer zone. Same line as Darius Ostraka. Probably a little bit shallow on that inner clip more. But man, here comes Darius Ostraka being as spicy as can be, keeping that proximity all the way through. Here comes Simon Sandman out of the final 2 zones, filling it out. Darius Ostraka is right there, door to door with him.
Yeah, what a battle here. Again, in the top 32. Let's take another look here. Second half of this battle between these two. Sandman out front, good initiation, but goes wide for inside clip 1. Grabs outside zone 2 and 3 as well. Nicely done, set in good, but Darius Ostraka applying some pressure there in that chase position. Drops back just a little bit, but then makes the dive for outside zone 5, riding that door and across the finish line, finishing out their top 32 battle.
Oh, we have a judge's decision already. Darius Ostraka to the left, Simon Sandman to the right. Darius gets the win and moves on. Beautiful battle from both of those drivers. Man,
yeah, nicely done from both of them. Sandman, yeah, maybe going, you know, that little wide for inside clip 1, missing it, missing out on it. But Darius staying smooth through his lead and chase. But we're bringing the next pair to the line quickly.
Yeah, our next pair is Lucas versus Peter. Here he goes. Lucas in the lead, Peter in the chase. Lucas is a AOM member. Let's see how he comes out here. Oh, Lucas, nice initiation, some left foot braking and inner clip 1, but some contact as well. Poking this. Oh my goodness. Lucas is filling out the zone, but Peter is right there, keeping that proximity all the way through outer zone 5 into the final outer zone. And Lucas is using some left foot braking to kind of stabilize himself a lot.
Yeah, using some left foot brake here and there for sure. Let's take another look at it here on the replay. Pasquini out front, nicely done on the initiation though. Maybe getting a little shoved at the end of turn 1 there, right along that inside clip. They continue on anyway, using that left foot brake just a little bit, and outside zone 3 not so much in 4, and setting in nicely for 5. They continue on. Look at there, that chase position almost pushing him across that finish line, so maybe even going into the second half of this battle.
Yeah, and that's another AOM livery you see there. AOM guys are out here just shredding tires, but here comes Peter in the lead. Let's see how Lucas and Squeenie is in the chase. Let's see how spicy he gets. Peter with that S15. coming in with a nice Scandinavian flick. Is that first outer zone with a lot of speed and momentum going into outer zone 2, using that left foot brake to keep himself stable and just hucking it through each zone, filling it out as smooth as possible. Peter's lead lap is coming in. Oh, some contact from the chase driver throws Peter offline.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there in the second half of the battle between these two. We'll look closer here from the drone. Peter out front in a big, smooth initiation, tight to that inside clip, filling outside zone 2 nicely. Good transition across into 3 as well. They continue on here. Nice transition. Here comes that contact. Yeah, quite the slow up there. You see the drone almost past that lead car and another little bobble there before crossing that finish line. So it's going to come down to whether or not that lead dropped too much speed out front going into outside zone 5.
We're going to be looking at what the judges will say. They're going to be looking at that replay. There was some contact on both ends from Lucas's lead lap that could have been due to slowdown. I'm not too sure on how the judges are going to be looking at it, but with those liveries, those guys make custom liveries. They put all their heart and soul in it. It's pretty sick to see. There you go. Right for Peter, left for Lucas. Unanimous. Peter gets the win. Knocked out one of the AOM members. And now we're going to have our next battle come up. And I'm pretty sure some of you guys in the Drift Masters world will know who's coming out here. Right, Craig?
Absolutely. Adam Zalewski coming to the line here, and he did really well in round 1.
Did fantastic out there. Adam Zalewski is an absolute gangster with that GT86. We were talking about how sick his livery is. That is his livery in real life for the Drift Masters. And then we have our other driver, Shistov. Looks like he is missing. This might be a buy run.
Yeah, I don't see him in the list. They might give him a little extra time to see if he's going to connect. No, it says there, yeah, he's getting a buy run.
It's a buy run. All right, so we have Adam Zalewski. Let's see how he throws down on this Mondello track. Man, I love seeing him drive, dude.
Yeah, I'd say he's pretty locked in here for round 2 as well. So expecting some big things out of Adam Zalewski for round 2.
Yeah, for sure. And then we have Powell, another driver from the Drift Masters, versus Daniel Andrejev. And Daniel Andrejev is going to be in the lead. And if this is going to be crazy, if Powell does get the win, we're going to have possibly what you'll see in Drift Masters on the next round.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't even think about that. Adam Zalewski and Pavel Korpolinski could be up next.
Yeah. So we have Daniel Andrejev winning that 180. And here's Powell with the S15 diving into the pocket. A little bit of contact, but actually helps out Daniel Andrejev get that angle going all the way into outer zone 2. Here comes Powell being as spicy as he can be, keeping that proximity. He's probably being more consistent because he knows he made some contact, but man, he is diving right back into the pocket in outer zone 5 and 6.
Yeah, he jumped right back into the fight after shoving Daniel Andreev through turn 1. We'll take another look at it here from the drone view. Good snappy initiation, picking up throttle, I think, on time as well, just right on that outside zone 1. They continue on anyway. Pavel Korpolinski where he needs to be for outside zone 3 there and along the bumper through both of those transitions in the Manji section, and then another shove there in outside zone 5 into 6 and across that finish line, finishing out the first half of their battle.
Nah, I love it. I love it when real world drivers jump on the sim and throw down like they would do in real world. It's insane to see. We have Powell now in the lead. Let's see how Daniel Andrejev in the chase. And that 180 SX 2S chassis coming out here. We're waiting for the lights. Here we go. Powell Korpelinski. Let's see how aggressive he is on this initiation. Nice initiation on that first outer zone. And Daniel Andrejev gets more angle to slow himself down, but dives right back in to the fight. Powell Korpelinski is filling out each zone, angles up, diving into outer zone 3 and 4. 5 is beautiful as well. Nice proximity to that first outer wall. Second outer wall is great. And some bumping and grinding from Daniel Andrejev.
Yeah, maybe going a little wide there is Pavel Korpelinski leaving outside zone 5. Let's take another look here. Pavel again out front, good initiation there. Took a while to pick up throttle though, but does barely grab that inside clip. Nicely done for outside zone 2, and I think maybe could have set in a little bit more angle into outside zone 3 as well. Maybe dropping a little tire off of that track edge, but then sets in nicely to 5. As they continue on, yeah, you see him go a little wide, has to angle up to really try and stay on the track and grab that last and final outside zone. So a little back and forth with the teeny tiny mistakes between these two.
Yeah, slide him right for Powell, slide him left for Andrejev, and Andrejev gets the win, moves on. Great lead lap from both of these drivers, great chase lap from both of them as well. What? I am excited to see how Powell performs in the Drift Masters for round 2.
Yeah, for sure. He did good in round 1 as well. Really showed up and showed out for Ricardo Tormo, but getting knocked out here in the top 32, but against a heavy hitter, Daniel Andrejev.
Now we have Reese Tatterson in the lead and Robert Kowinski in the chase. Reese Tatterson, a partner in crime for Himes in the sim world. Here he comes. Reese Tatterson is in that GT86. Nice initiation from Reese. Snappy angle, a little bit midline on that inner clip. And here comes Robert coming in here and diving in, keeping that proximity and rubbing his tire on the door of Reese Tatterson. Reese Tatterson is unfazed, rubbing that back bumper on that first outer wall and second outer wall, just filling out each zone.
Yeah, Reese making up for the mistake there in turn 1. Really went for that no lift initiation into the course, and it pushes him a little wide here. So we take another look, grabbing that throttle, and then yeah, second hash for that inside clip, but grabs the next outside zone, and nicely done for outside zone 3 as well. But a little shove there from Robert in that chase position. They continue on bumper to bumper, and there Reese putting his bumper along both of those walls in outside zone 5, and there they go across that finish line for the first half of their top 32 battle.
We're seeing in chat, no mercy, judges. All right, here we go. We got Robert coming in the lead. Reese Tatterson in the chase. Let's see how they perform here. Reese Tatterson did a great lead lap. Here comes Robert. Let's see how he goes out here with this Titan right behind him. Reese Tatterson locks his tires up and dives right into the proximity. Some contact from outer zone 2 and 3. Robert goes wide because of that contact. And here comes the to outer zone 4 all the way to 5. Nice, snappy, and clean transitions from that outer zones. Oh man, that contact is gonna be probably the final nail in the coffin for Tatterson.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to do it for sure. Let's take another look here, though. Ooh, yeah, almost causing some contact along that initiation, and then really cuts the course there. Now, Robert doesn't quite feel outside zone 2, but I don't think that really had anything to do with that contact right after it. Just Reese maybe not giving enough room for that first transition that happened. They continue on anyway, end up finishing the run, but it is going to come down to that with this decision here.
All right, the judges have made the decision. Slide him right for Robert. Slide him left for Reese. And it goes unanimous to Robert. He's moving on to the top 16. Now, you have other heavy hitters coming out here. David versus Cameron Mustard. Let's see if he puts out a spicy round. Because I always love messing with his last name a little bit, but he's definitely a absolute monster out here.
Yeah, I think he upgraded his equipment recently too. I think.
I believe so, and a lot of people will look at it and try to figure out what do you mean upgrade equipment. And with the sim rigs, you have direct drive wheels and different kind of peripherals, if you say. But we have David out here in the lead, Cameron in the chase. Let's see how they perform. David, huge initiation going into that first inner clip. Beautiful fill out from David. Here comes Cameron Mustard in the AOM livery. Give him that proximity all the way through. Give him some room for that transition to outer zone 5. And David is filling out each zone, being as smooth as butter.
Yeah, really smooth between these two. David out front, putting down a heater of a lead run, and Cameron Mustard doing really what he needs to do in that chase position. Let's take another look here. Great initiation, nice and smooth from both of them as they make a little adjustment there out front to fill outside zone 2. A little bit of left foot brake. Cameron doesn't quite follow him with him, but nicely done for 3, 4, and 5. There they go, filling that zone. Both of them, little pressure back and forth from that chase position, and we'll flip them around for the second half of their top 32 battle.
Beautiful performance from these guys. I love seeing that nice big Scandinavian flight going into initiations. One of my favorite type of way to initiate into a drift. Now we have Cameron Mustard in the lead. David in the chase. David coming in here, trying to dive in right off the rip and mirroring Cameron Mustard, man. Cameron Mustard just angles up to fill out outer zone 2. Use a little bit of left foot braking to pivot that car around to outer zone 3 and 4. Beautiful transition from both of these drivers, as smooth as possible. Cameron Mustard had to get more angle. It looked like he possibly understeered tiny bit on outer zone 5.
Yeah, he might have even given the wall a little tap there. That second little real short wall run there. As we take another look, great initiation from Cameron Mustard, locking him up just a little bit to fill outside zone 2, but nice and snappy into 3. But look at David in that chase position, really applying some pressure there, bumper to bumper through both of those transitions. And here we go, right? Yeah, a little tap along that wall and gets right back into the angle from the tap of the chase car. But really even back and forth between these two drivers, but it looks like we have a quick decision.
And it looks like David gets to win and moves on. I'm giggling because the in-game chat from these drivers.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the sportsman-like conduct from these guys are hilarious, and these guys drive with each other all the time, and it's hilarious. But now we have Marcel versus Zach O'Sullivan, and we're talking about Titans here. You got Zach O'Sullivan, our top dog from last round. Well, he has his work cut out possibly for him with Marcel out here in the lead. Let's see how Zach performs. With the A90 Supra is Marcel, and the BMW F22 is Zach O'Sullivan. Marcel coming out here. Escuco livery. initiation. Beautiful. Zach O'Sullivan dives in and then it gives him some room to fill out outer zone 2. Zach O'Sullivan is keeping that proximity all the way through, filling out each zone with Marcel mirroring the angle. And oh my goodness, I thought he was gonna punch him to mock Jesus into the wall, but Zach O'Sullivan uses some left foot braking to keep that proximity.
Yeah, right along the bumper through that transition as well. We'll take another look. Marcel out front, the higher qualifier this time, and a big initiation there, grabbing that inside clip nicely. No big correction there. He does angle up quite a bit, leaving outside zone 2, but makes a good transition into 3 with Zach right there along the bumper. Here it comes again, and then right on the door for outside zone 5. They continue on filling that zone, filling the next one, and finishing out the first half of their battle.
Now you're gonna have Marcel in the chase. Zach O'Sullivan in the lead. It's gonna be an absolute banger here. Marcel needs to door every possible moment he can be. All the way, Zach O'Sullivan coming in with the initiation, fills out that first outer zone, use some left foot braking to stabilize his car, go into outer zone 2. Beautiful. And here comes Marcel diving into the pocket, getting door to door with Zach O'Sullivan, letting him know that I am not going to bow out without a fight. Zach O'Sullivan is tapping, maybe rubbing up against that wall, rubbing up both walls all the way through, but Marcel is following him everywhere he goes.
Yeah, he certainly did, and did a nice job doing so, but clinical out front from Zach O'Sullivan, filling outside zone 1, grabbing that inside clip, no correction there for outside zone 2, and then right along that track edge for outside zone 3. But Marcel right there in that chase position, applying some pressure right along the bumper, and then nicely done for outside zone 5 as well. They continue on. We might have a one more time here.
This might be a one more time, or I don't know, man. Marcel mirrored the angle throughout each zone compared to Zach O'Sullivan from what I've seen. But Zach the proximity was insane.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think through turn 1 as well, Zach was maybe a little bit closer all the way through there than Marcel was. But, you know, again, it just back and forth between these two, again, in the top 32.
Yeah. We have slide him left for Marcel, slide him right for Zach. Here we go. And Zach O'Sullivan gets the win and moves on. Man, that was insane to watch. Marcel held his own, man.
He certainly did against probably the heaviest hitter in the virtual drifting space right now, Zach O'Sullivan, and he showed up and put up a fight for sure.
Yeah, this is our final battle for the top 32. After that, we'll be doing a break, but we'll also be commentating on how the bracket is showing up. But here we go. Final battle for the top 32. Samuel Goody versus Steven Jarbo. He's gonna be another AOM member out here in this bracket, dude. It's crazy. And even Escuco and AOM both clashing at every competition that you can see. This is awesome to see. Here we go. Sam in the lead, Steven Jarbo in the chase. Top 32 battle, final one. So we go to our top 16. Sam Cuddy is going to be in the lead with the S15. Nice initiation from Sam as Steven Jarbo is diving right in, using that left foot brake to keep the proximity into the outer zone 2 into 3, and diving in, being as feisty as he can be. Sam Cuddy is filling out each zone 3 and 4 and 5, filling all the way out. Possible little bit of a tire drop, but Steven Jarbo is right there.
Yeah, applying some pressure across that finish line. We'll go to the drone view here. Samuel Cuddy out front and getting a quite a bit of a little start there on the run up, but closing the gap quickly is Steven Jarbo in that chase position. Drops back for that first transition, applying the pressure again now in outside zone 3, right along the bumper. Could have been maybe a little bit closer, but then he reels Samuel in quickly. And there they go across that finish line. First half of their battle done.
Absolute monsters out here. Guys, I'm just letting you guys know this is top 32, and we've seen these battles. And now we got Steven Jarbo in the lead with that white and gold AOM livery, and you have Sam in the chase with that S15. Final battle. Here we go. Let's see how Steve is out here to show up and throw down that huge initiation, the first outer zone, and inner clip 1. Huge speed and momentum, filling it out. Here comes Sam to keep that proximity. Steven Jarbo is filling out each zone, filling it all the way through to outer zone 5, rubbing that bumper against that wall yet again. And here is Sam all the way through that finish line.
Yeah, Steven locked in there to that lead run. We'll take another look here. Again, Steven out front. And Samuel Cuddy giving chase, washing out in that chase position. We see it clear on the drone view there, missing the inside clip. 1 is Samuel in that chase position, but he gets right back into the fight quickly, right along the bumpers there through those transitions in the Manju section, jumping back onto the door. But Steven locked into these outside zones and finishing out the course. Again, last battle here in the top 32.
I'm so hot. I'm sweating, man. This Florida weather is getting me. It hit 100 degrees. These guys are throwing heaters. My goodness. We got the judge's decision. Sam to the left. Steven Jarbo to the right. And Steven Jarbo gets the win and moves on to the top 16. And beautiful performance from all of these drivers in the top 32.
Yeah, nicely done from every single one of these drivers. This was absolutely insane here in the top 32. It was final battles every single time.
Dude, I had my blueberry iced coffee this morning. I had my first monster. I'm about to crack another monster because I need the excitement. And we're getting excited on these drivers over here. So I'm super excited to see how these guys are going to be performing. We're going to see how these guys come out here on the top 16, and we're going to be showing the bracket shortly. But it's cool to see everybody out here being in the chat, showing up and saying, "Hey, I'm rooting for this guy." Craig, what are you thinking about this battles today? Craig might be muted a little bit.
Again, what I was saying, the top 32, every single one of these battles was like watching a final battle. It's only going to get crazier from here as we move on into our top 16.
Yeah, now we have these guys going to be taking a 13-minute break where we're going to have our video sending us off. I'll see you guys in the top 16, and we're going to take a quick 13-minute break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Virtual Drift Masters. I'm your host or co-host, Jonathan Tiny Warbe. I'm here with my partner in crime, Craig. Craig, how you feeling about today, dude?
I'm feeling good. The top 32 was absolutely insane, and we've only got more to come moving into the top 16. I think it's going to just get more and more crazy moving forward for sure. A lot of big battles coming up here.
Yeah, definitely is with the battles we've seen today. At Mondello in Ireland. Been to Ireland once, but only at the airport. But I could just imagine the electrifying experience it is to be at the track at Drift Masters. So we have our guys out here getting ready. We're going to be lining up soon, and our bracket is still a clash of titans throughout the whole competition. You got Stanislav Tarasov versus Brandon Patrick right off the rip. Ethan Petraku versus Leonis Turnquist. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. This first one coming up, Tarasov and Brandon Patrick might be battle of the day. I don't know. Darius Ostreko on the other side there with Polinkovich is going to be a tough one too, I think.
Yeah, and Zach O'Sullivan versus Steven Jarbo, that's going to be an absolute banger as well. Steven Jarbo, we saw in our last battle, and dude, he was so clean on his lead lap, and even in the chase, he was being real spicy. But we have our drivers coming up to the line. Stanislav Tarasov in the lead, Brandon Patrick in the chase with that F22. That first battle of the top 16 competition. These guys are getting ready. You got the Bitlook livery on that GT86. Stanislav is going to be coming out here to try to slay it out there for that initiation. Coming in, nice flick into that first outer zone. Here comes Brandon Patrick using that angle to slow himself down, to give him some proximity and give room for Stanislav as he's filling out outer zone 3 all the way to 4. Beautiful transition. Stanislav is right there using speed and momentum through each zone, and Brandon Patrick is keeping that proximity, rubbing that tire on the door.
Yeah, really kind of took off there too, leaving outside zone 3. Let's take another look at it here. Stanislav Tarasov out front. Good initiation, really throwing that car in, holding momentum, picking up throttle quickly, locked into the angle. Good transition into outside zone 3, but Brandon's right there applying some pressure. Oh yeah, almost not leaving enough room. Brandon has to drop back a little bit, maybe a little bit too late as well, which really leads to a bit of a gap there, but Brandon closing the door quickly afterwards, and we'll flip him around here in the top 16.
Yeah, and when we're talking, a lot of people, when they're going into drifting, it's especially imperative when you're in the chase to time that transition perfectly. We saw that little loss of proximity from Brandon Patrick, but usually you want to kind of like either do it at the same time or just slightly early of the lead driver. Some people are able to carry that momentum everywhere they go. Here comes Brandon Patrick with that F22. Stanislav Tarasov in that GT86, Brandon Patrick with a nice initiation, filling out outer zone 1, fills out inner clip 1, and here comes Stanislav to try to dive into the pocket. Brandon Patrick does a great job, uses some left foot braking to fill out the zone into outer zone 3, 4, beautiful transition. Here comes the wall rides, and Brandon Patrick is filling each zone out. Great lead run. Stanislav Tarasov is getting doors.
Yeah, what a start to the top 16. These two drivers showing out. Brandon Patrick out front, Stanislav Tarasov in that chase position right along the bumper through the initiation. Little correction there in that chase position to drop back into the pocket of Brandon Patrick. Brandon, I'm just throwing in the angle for outside zone 3, locked in as well. No waiver whatsoever, and into outside zone 5, but Stanislav right there in that chase position, almost shoving him across that finish line. Tough call here for the judges here in the top 16.
I love drifting is a judge motorsport. It's like the modern day gladiators, but with cars. It's insane to see these guys go toe to toe, just put in the center of the ring, battle it out. This is just a pure fist fight right here. This call it as it is. You got Godzilla versus King Kong at times over here in these battles, especially this round.
Yeah, for sure. These two, though, really coming into their own here recently in the virtual drifting space, and it shows between these two here in this battle, and we've got a decision here, or is it going to be a one more time?
It looks like it's going to Stanislav Tarasov getting the win with that GT86. Beautiful. Moving on to the Grade 8. And now we have our next battle. It's going to be Ethan Petraku, Pika Pika versus Linus Turnquist. Or Linus. Man, I butcher his name, but he's such a cool dude. He don't mind it at times. He's like, you know what, Tiny? I love you, man. I hope he says that.
He's not even sure.
Here we go. We got Ethan Petraku in the lead versus Linus Turnquist in the chase. These guys are also heavy hitters in the sim world. Ethan Petraku with that A90 Supra, Linus Turnquist in the chase with that E36. Ethan coming in. Nice initiation going into that first outer zone, filling it out, diving in, Pikachu drifting, going all the way through to the outer zone 3. And here comes Linus Turnquist just trying to dive into that pocket, filling out that zone. And Ethan Petraku is as smooth as silk, a little bit further away than normal, but then rides that bumper on that second outer wall, a little further than normal on that first wall.
Yeah, I think so. Let's take another look at it here with Ethan out front being chased down by Linus. And Linus doing a good job here. Could be a little bit closer, but closes the door quickly through turn 1 into outside zone 2. Here we go into outside zone 3, dropping back into that pocket, dropping back for the transition, lets it happen, and then makes the dive in outside zone 5. Ethan filling it all the way through, continuing on. There they go, finishing out the first half of their top 16 battle.
Dude, these guys just straight shred tires and have fun with each other. It's cool to watch, especially in like public lobbies or when they're prepping for the drift competitions in the VDM public lobbies. It's awesome to see. But now we have Linus in the lead. You have Ethan in the chase. Let's see if Ethan can evolve to Raichu instead of Pikachu. And here he comes, diving into that pocket as well, right off the rip. Linus Turnquist, a little bit of a tire drop. No, he is on that line on Outer Zone 3. Outer Zone 4 is beautiful. Here comes that snap into that Outer Zone 5 and rubbing his bumper on the wall of both of them. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, really shoving him across the finish line there was Ethan in that chase position. We'll take another look. Linus out front. Good snappy initiation, grabbing that inside clip nicely, filling outside zone 2, continuing on with that momentum and making the decel after his transition into outside zone 3 and locked into it. They continue on. Ethan makes the big dive here and makes it stick, staying with him, and then again, yeah, pushing him across that finish line, applying some pressure.
Yeah, tire rubbing is great in drifting. It doesn't upset the car, but if you go mock Jesus into the car and you say that's door tapping, no, that's crashing, bro. Here we go. We're having the judge's decision right here. Slide him left for Ethan. Slide him right for Turnquist. And Ethan gets the win and moves on. Now we have our next battle coming up. It's gonna be Ernestus Jaku versus Devin Fancher. Jaku is also a podium. He also podiumed in the last round. You have Devin Fancher trying to get his way up into the season standings. He is able to knock him off of this battle. He'll be able to kind of knock Ernestus off that podium position for the whole season standings. Here's Ernestus Jaku with that A90 Supra going in with the initiation, fills it out. Here comes Devin Fancher diving into that pocket and filling it out with Ernestus Jaku. Beautiful lead from Ernestus. And here comes Devin Fancher on the transition, giving little to no room on the transition and filling it out with Ernestus all the way through to the final outer zone.
Yeah, holy smokes, what a start to this top 16 battle. We'll take another look. Ernestus getting out to a good start from the gate. Big snappy initiation, picking up that throttle, grabbing inside clip, but closing the door quickly is Devin in that chase position. They continue on. Ernestas filling that outside zone 3, 4 as well, and then making another big transition into 5, locked into that track edge. They continue on and getting pushed across that finish line.
Oh my goodness. These guys make it so hard. It's for a person to judge a competition. We have Devin Fancher now going to be in the lead, and Ernestas Jaku in the chase. Ness is going to be in that 890 Supra. Devin Fancher in that F22. AO1 livery on the side coming in. Beautiful initiation going inside first outer zone. Use some left foot braking to go to outer zone 2. And here comes Ernestas Jaku mirroring the angle and aggression of Devin Fancher as Devin Fancher is filling out each zone. Possible tire drop we'll see on the drone replay, but outer zone 5, use some left foot braking to rub that bumper, and Jaku is getting doors as well today.
Yeah, it was almost hard to see there until the camera change. He was so close in outside zone 5. We'll take another look from the drone here. Good initiation from Devin out front. Could have been a little tighter to inside clip 1, but fills outside zone 2 and 3 nicely. But look at there, and that's in that chase position right along the bumper through that transition, and that one as well. Makes the dive and locks into that pocket. Look at there, right in the door of that lead position.
Oh my God. This is like from start to finish, we're going to be having some intense battles. This track is absolutely bonkers for skill and finesse for these drivers, but we have Ernestas on the left. Jaku gets the win and moves on to the grade 8. Devin Fancher gets knocked out. Great runs from both of these drivers.
Yeah, I think that was another one that could have went either way, but well deserved from Ernestas. Close battle between those two, and I think it's just, again, going to continue here. It's going to be hard to even talk about the leads because they're just going to look the same one after another.
Yeah, now we have Danielis Parangaskas. It's going to be in the chase. I think I said that one right.
Yeah, I think.
Well, there we go. We got Alexander Element with that GT86 in the lead. And now Danielis Parangaskas in the chase. Alexander with that bait look livery. Let's see how he comes out here and shows up and throw down. Alexander Element, beautiful initiation, real aggressive, a little bit of a bobble in there, clip 1, but here comes Danielis to dive in, use that left foot brake and to stay right there with that proximity. Alexander Element is filling out each zone with that GT86, going all the way to the outside zone 5, and Danielis is getting that proximity, a little bit falls back, but man, what are you gonna do, man? Today's crazy.
No, it's insane. Again, here in the top 16, Danielis out front initiating in, or excuse me, that's Element out front filling that outside zone and continuing on here nicely, just filling each and every single outside zone out front with really good speed. And there's the big dive in the chase position as they continue on and across that finish line. A tough start to, again, this top 16 between these two.
Yeah, and with Danielis, he was not as close as what we've been seeing all day, but I think he was trying to be as conservative as possible and clean as possible in the chase, and we'll see how he does in the lead. Man, these guys are just shredding tires. The cutoff for the qualifying was a 90.5, and let's put it that way. And it's been showing the skill and the practice from these drivers. Danielis is going to be in that 180 SX in the lead. Alexander is going to be in the chase with that GT86, coming in with a nice initiation, the e-brake pull, and here comes Danielis filling out outer zone 2. Outer zone 3 is good. Oh, a tire drop on outer zone 3 in the beginning, but then holds it together, fills it out, and here comes Alexander using a little bit of left for braking. Oh, some contact, sending Danielis into the wall. Oh no.
That's gonna be tough. Big turn of events there.
Wow, that looked like contact, but that actually, oh, that changes quite a bit of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it looked like a little bit of contact, but then it seems like a little bit too spicy, getting close to that wall, hanging that thing out there. We'll see what the judges are gonna deem this. If you guys aren't following the Driftmaster social medias, by all means, go for it. You're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, the whole 9 yards, man. That we got, as well as if you want to get your merch at Virtual Driftmasters, use actually Driftmasters merch, use the code of VDM, get a little percentage off. But here we go. Danielle is in the left, Alexander Element in the right, and Alexander Element gets the win and moves on. And we're going to see our next battle move up to the line. And it looks like it's going to be Darius Austriaca versus Powell. Oh,
yeah, I think
my
this
God.
is going to be an exciting one coming up here in the top 16. Really, just looking back at the bracket again, to every single one of these battles that are coming up. Insane.
Yeah, excuse me, not Powell, Peter. Here we go. Peter is going to be in the chase. Darius is going to be in the lead. We got some discrepancy going in there. Here we go. Darius is going in the lead. The guy that was in the podium position going in with a nice initiation. And here's Peter trying to fill out each zone and stay close proximity all the way through. A little bit of a bobble from the chase driver, having to stab at the left foot brake so he doesn't make contact to Darius. Darius does a great job filling out each zone and rubbing his bumper against both walls, going all the way through. We'll see how they judge this, man. This is crazy.
Yeah, I feel sorry for him. We'll take a look here on the replay from the drone. Darius Ostraka locked into this lead run here. A little wash there from Peter in that chase position, but then a big dive, making a little bit of contact there in outside zone 3, but nicely done on the transitions here in the Manji section into outside zone 5 now, where Darius drove off the zone just a little bit before the wall there, but fills the in, and we'll flip them around for the second half of their battle here.
Man, now we have Peter in the lead, and we have Darius in the chase. Oof. This is going to be the battle to move on to the grade 8. Peter is in the S15. Darius is going to be in the 890. Peter coming in with a nice flick initiation going into that first outer zone. Inner clip 1 is beautiful. Peter is using all momentum, and here comes Darius, keeping that proximity all the way through, being as super aggressive as possible. Throttle modulation is on point from Darius, but Peter has no more bumper because he's just literally scraped it off the front wall. Wow.
Yeah, he left the bumper behind. We'll go to our replay here from the drone cam. Peter out front and doing a really nice job. I like the initiation, big flick into it, filling those outside zones, grabbing the inside clip, nice snappy on that transition into outside zone 3. But look at there, Darius Ostraka still applying the pressure in that chase position, locked into the pocket as they continue on finishing their top 16 run. Tough one to call again here for the judges.
I'm just at a loss for words. They were asking also in chat about the judges. There's one judge from Drift Masters, there's one judge from VDC, and the other one is from DCGP. So it's a mixture of IRL and sim. It's awesome to see this kind of like aspect of judging, and hey, I love it. I love the worlds clashing together, and it's everywhere now with drifting.
Absolutely coming together and making this happen, and they're making some good calls today too, I must say.
Yeah, they are. And it's not only with the judging you have as sim and real world, you also have drivers as well. You got guys from virtual going into real world drifting. It's absolutely bonkers to even think about it. What was it? Back in 2008, 2007, when I started virtual drifting, I never thought that going into a video game and then people will come from video games to real life. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And the pros using it for training these days, really locking in and dialing in their setups on the sim and transferring them over, or just, you know, getting familiar with the track that's coming up, or maybe building some confidence. But we have a decision here.
All right, slide him left for Darius, slide him right for Peter. This is a cliffhanger. And Darius gets the win and moves on to the Grade 8. Man. Oh my goodness, man. And then I'm looking at the battles, dude, like for the rest of this top 16. Like, it's crazy, bro.
That's how I was doing when I looked over earlier. I said, oh my goodness.
You got Adam Zaleski versus Daniel Andrzejewicz. Adam Zaleski, you guys are familiar with him from Drift Masters. So this is a clash from virtual to real world. Oh my goodness. I love seeing these kind of matchups because, hey, you got this guy representing the sim world, and you got this guy representing, hey, I'm a real driver, I'm a real pilot. Let's see if you could throw down. All right, so let's see who's more gangster. Little callback from round one. Let's see who's more gangster, Adam or Daniel. And we're waiting for the judges to get situated. We're gonna see those lights come out here. Oh, mercy. If you guys are in the chats and are excited to see who's moving on in the bracket, drop your name in, or drop their name in, or their country. Let's see what you guys are excited for. Who's gonna take the podium spot? I saw one comment that says, I'd rather see that car stay in good condition because Demolition Derby is another sport.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. Demolition Derby is pretty cool to watch, though. I don't know if you ever been to actual Derby. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, I've been a few times.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like what you seen in Too Fast, Too Furious, but it actually isn't.
Yeah, nowhere close.
Nowhere close, but it was fun to watch. It was great to watch. We have a bunch of guys out here. We got Lithuania guys cheering on. We have some people asking anyone from here is going to Warsaw for the grand finale. Well, I'll tell you who is. Our season winner is going to be going to Warsaw. It's going to be awesome to see him go out there. That's a cool grand prize for the virtual to real life.
Yeah, get a couple of tickets. Get to take a couple buddies out there.
Yeah, imagine
I hear
that.
tickets are already sold out.
That's crazy. That's awesome to see.
Yeah, I might have to hit up Ukash or something. Just Ukash if you're watching.
It's cool to see these. Like I I see the European countries, like they're so adamant about drifting, and I'm just waiting because drifting is a pretty new motorsport in the US. But let's go back to the drift battle. Adam Zaleski versus Daniel Andrejev. Adam is going to be in that GT86, same livery as Real World, coming in with a nice initiation, filling out that first outer zone. But here comes Daniel Andrejev, putting up a fight, diving into the pocket, use some left for braking to get that proximity. Outer zone 3 is good from Adam Zaleski, going to outer zone 4. Nice smooth transition, rubbing that back bumper on that first outer wall of outer zone 5 and second wall. And here comes Daniel.
Yeah, a little shoving across the finish line as well. We'll take another look here. Zaleski out front, and good initiation, picking up that throttle. A little wide for inside clip though, but grabs outside zone 2. And look at Daniel in that chase position, just right into the pocket. He does drop back quite a bit for this transition, and then has to slow up there as well, and makes the dive a little bit on the inside, where Adam is as deep as you can be in outside zone 5.
Here comes Adam coming up to the line, and some people don't realize that these guys do 2 laps on the same tires on the virtual wise, because there actually is some tire wear, especially when they're going into data wise. But now we have Daniel Andrejev in the lead. Adam is going to be in the chase. Lights are green. Daniel Andrejev coming in here. Oh, mercy! How did Adam pull that? Going side to side initiation, a little far forward in the pocket, but not making contact with Daniel Andrejev. Oh my goodness, going to outer zone 5. Daniel Andrejev is filling out outer zone 5. Oh my goodness, doors!
Yeah, absolutely insane. We saw the same thing out of Zaleski from round 1, where he started doing these side-by-side initiations, and they paid off. Now this time he's a little bit on the inside, has to make quite the correction to get back on the correct line. Jumps on the inside a little bit there for outside zone 3, but falls back nicely for the transitions here in the Manji section of the course. We see a little bit of left foot brake there from Daniel Andrejev, and a bobble from Adam Zaleski in that chase position, but a tough one to call here again in the top 16.
The amount of cojones to do a side-by-side initiation is crazy, especially in this caliber of a competition. He's on a different level. He's probably out here just having fun. Like, hey, this is just practice. I'm just gonna go side by side.
It really does look like he's just, let me see what I can get away with here. And yeah, he got away with it.
Oh, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of that. But we'll see what the judges say about that. And possibly is a mistake. But Adam is to the left, Andrejev to the right. Unanimous to Andrejev. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. I don't know if we're gonna see that ever again in this bracket.
Yeah, really went for it big time there in that chase position, but just, yeah, doesn't quite pay off there, as he ended up on just a little bit of an inside line there through turn 1 in that chase position. But I mean, it was fun.
Yeah, I love it. That's one of my favorite things about drifting, is you never know what's gonna happen. And when these guys are out there to have fun, we have last round the dude going in with a backy. It was it was crazy. Now we have David in the lead and Robert in the chase. Oh, I gotta regain my composure after that. That was crazy. Here we go. The lights are coming. David in the lead. S15. Blue S15. Robert is going to be in that black S15. David coming in here with a nice initiation, going to that first outer zone. Here comes Robert to keep that proximity a little bit far forward in the pocket, washing a little bit out with some understeer. Some contact also being made in outer zone 3. Here comes outer zone 4. David is just filling out each zone as much as possible. And Robert is just trying to regain his composure. That was one of the surprisingly sloppier runs that what we've seen.
Yeah, one of the most, I think, here in the entire top 32, but it's an interesting one. The pace out front was a little on the slower side. Yeah, a little bit of left foot brake there to extend the line in outside zone 2, but that contact there in outside zone 3, I think, was Robert just being a little bit too aggressive. And then here, yeah, I mean, he's back on throttle on time out front for outside zone 5. Winds out maybe a little bit early, but a very interesting start to the top 16 battle here between these two.
Oh man. Well, let's see how Robert cleans up his act on the second lap in the lead. Man, it's unfortunate, but that's sometimes you have to be resilient in drifting, and that right here is where we're gonna see if Robert is gonna be resilient enough. Here he is in the lead. David in the chase. Robert coming in with a nice initiation, huge angle, punching that inner clip. Oh no! Looks like he shallowed up in line, missing outer zone 2. Robert is going in to fill out outer zone 3 and 4. But it looks like this might be a more clear-cut decision for the judges, as Robert is finishing up this lap on outer zone 5 and 6.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think maybe Robert had just a little bit too much grip dialed into that car with what we saw in the first half of the battle. As we take another look at the second half here, yeah, no contact there along that initiation, and then just doesn't come anywhere close to outside zone 2 again. Like, just a ton of forward bite dialed into that car as they continue on anyway after almost really shutting the run down. And we see it here too, driving off that outside and not quite filling that last and final outside zone as Robert out front.
Man, I wish this was more of a cleaner run, but this is probably one of the easiest decisions for the judges, and it looks like David is getting the win. Moving on. Unfortunate for Robert's time, does give him some points in that bracket, but it ends this battle. Now, our final battle for top 16 is Steven Jarbo versus Zach O'Sullivan. And what we're seeing now, which is insane, is the top 3 from last round are possibly going to be in the next quarterfinal. So we have Steven Jarbo out here. He's going to be in the lead. He has the opportunity to knock out our leading points season pilot. So we are going to have Steven Jarbo in the lead, representing AOM. Zach O'Sullivan in the chase. At 180 SX coming in with a nice initiation, use some left foot braking, but here comes Zach O'Sullivan getting dialed in and locking in, using some left foot braking to stay right into the pocket. Steven Jarbo does a beautiful job filling out each zone. Outer zone 4 is beautiful, rubbing that back bumper on outer zone 5. First one, second wall, all the way through to the 6 outer zone. Steven Jarbo did a banger of a lead run.
Yeah, he certainly did. Both of these drivers just super smooth throughout the entire run. Getting off to a little bit of a start there is Steven Jarbo, but then Zach closing the door quickly in outside zone 3 as they continue on here, dropping back for that transition, but then right along the bumper there for that last and final one, working their way through the latter half of the course.
Yeah, and this is going to be the final battle for the top 16. After that, we'll take another 4-minute break, but we're going to be having the lineup yet again. Zach O'Sullivan in the lead. Steven Jarbo in the chase, waiting for the lights. Final battle of top 16. Moving on to the grade 8. Zach O'Sullivan coming out here with a nice initiation in that first outer zone. Steven Jarbo gets a nice initiation almost side to side, but he is just trying to dive in. Oh, a huge mistake from Steven Jarbo in the chase, but let's see if he reels it in. Zach O'Sullivan is filling out each zone like a straight baller shot caller, and Steven Jarbo looks like he straightens out. Oh no.
Yeah, getting a piece of the wall, and after the just small mistake he had, he cleaned it up really quickly here as we take another look. Zach, great initiation, grabbing that inside clip, filling the next outside zone. And then, yeah, just missed time in that transition just a little bit. Is Jarbo in that chase position? Nicely done, though, to, again, clean it up quickly. And, oh, yeah, just shutting it down, gets back into it, grabs the wall. Zach continues on, and that's going to round out our top 16.
Man, it's so unfortunate when it comes into how the drivers are looking into this. The judge is going to be in depth looking at what's going on. Steven Jarbo is going to be in the right, and Zach O'Sullivan gets the win, moves on to the grade A.
Yeah, nicely done from Zach. But again, good fight that Steven Jarbo put up there in the top 16.
Yeah, and man, it's been a stellar performance from all of these drivers here at Virtual Drift Masters. We're going to be taking a 4-minute break after these quick notes from the sponsors. Right here, you have the bracket left. Crazy battles going on. And also on the right, you got the top 3 in the running to possibly get a back-to-back podium.
Yeah, it's insane. Just 8 drivers left.
8 drivers. Well, we'll catch you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Virtual Drift Masters. My name is Jonathan Tiny Warbay, and I'm with my partner in crime, Craig. Man, these battles have been insane.
They really have. From the start, top 32 all the way through, just absolutely incredible battles between all of these drivers. And then through the top 16, we're down to the last 8 drivers here. And we're getting close here to the finals.
Yeah, for sure. And everybody out here from the virtual drifting world, virtual Italia drifting world, I saw them in the chat. Another guy commented on my ball cap. Cap forward, yeehaw. Let's have a good time and let's send it out here.
Yes, sir.
I saw that smirk, man. We got our bracket out here. We got Stanislav Tarasov going to be starting off with Ethan Petraku and Nessus Jaku. All right, for the podiums on the last season or last round, you got Petraku, Jaku, and Zach O'Sullivan. They were in the podium, and they're now at the top 8.
Yeah, they certainly are, just working their way through the bracket there and just displaying their skill. Again, what was the cutoff? 90 and a half that you needed to get into the top 32. So, I mean, really everybody, as far as their lead runs and their quality runs, everyone was so close that, it was inevitable to have crazy battles all the way through here, no matter where you qualified.
Yeah, and excuse me, I meant instead of Ethan, it was Darius that was in the top 3, but everybody got the gist of what I was saying. We got our first battle, Clash of Titans out here. Bitlook, Stanislav Tarasov versus Ethan and Pika Petraku in the chase. Petraku is in that A90 Supra. Stanislav Tarasov is in that GT86. The battle for Grade 8 starts now. Stanislav Tarasov is in GT86, coming in with a nice initiation, filling out the first out of zone. Oh, Ethan Petraku pushes him offline. Huge correction from Stanislav, but that was forced from the contact from Ethan. Stanislav is filling out each zone. Out of 3, out of 4, beautiful. Outer 5 is great. Ethan Petraku is back in the fight as well, going to the finish line.
Yeah, an interesting start here to the first top 8 battle. Stanislav out front, Pikachu in that chase position, and really throwing it in here to the first turn. We see, leads a little bit wide for the inside clip, but it seemed like he was on throttle and then continued to stay on throttle and try and keep things going, but unfortunately just couldn't. Went 2 wheels off track, and judges saying that would be a 0, but again, due to the contact, I think it's going to be on Ethan in that chase position, just getting into the door, being maybe a little bit too aggressive, but judges might go back, take a look at it, really analyze and come up with something different. But we've got the second half of the battle coming up.
Yeah, Ethan Petraku is now in the lead. Possibly, if everything what you said before was true, Ethan is at a disadvantage now, and we have Stanislav Tarasov in the chase. We're gonna see what they do here on the first battle of the Grade 8 to move on to the finals, to battle it out to get in the podium. Here we go. Lights are green. Stanislav Tarasov is in the chase. That GT86. Ethan Petraku coming in with a nice initiation on that first out of zone. Stanislav gives a considerable space on that initiation, probably being conservative throughout these zones. Ethan Petraku is right there filling out under zone 3. Stanislav is getting door to door, closing that proximity in, giving him some room to transition, and now he's back on throttle. Use some left foot braking to keep that proximity all the way through. Might have been a little bit of contact on the wall from Ethan.
Yeah, let's take a closer look here from the drone. Ethan out front and getting off to a good start here. Quite the gap through turn 1, but Stanislav closes the door pretty quickly, leaves some room for that first transition to happen, and then back into the pocket, maybe giving him a little shove there, leaving outside zone 3. Good transition into outside zone 5 here. They continue on. Ethan, yeah, giving the wall just a little tap there at the end of outside zone 5. We'll go to our judges.
Yeah, we're seeing it come up with the judges. Right to Petraku, left for Stanislav, and it looks like Stanislav gets the win and moves on to the final 4. Now we're seeing our next battle coming up here. It's going to be Jaku versus Alexander Element. Alexander Element started off the day with a bye run and is able to carry that momentum all the way through to this top 8. Looks like Jaku is lining up, and we're waiting for Alexander Element, another Bitlook driver. Let's see if we get another Bitlook driver in the Final Four battle. If he moves on, it's going to be a battle of teammates. We've seen that before. Ernestus Jaku in the lead. And Alexander Element in the chase. Here we go. Ernestus is going to be in that A90 Supra. Alexander Element is in that GT86. Beautiful initiation from Ernestus. But here comes Alexander, keeping that proximity right off the rip and then diving back into the pocket on outer zone 3. Ernestus is filling out each zone beautifully. Going to outer zone 4 and going to 5, rubbing that back bumper against that wall. Going to the second wall, literally destroys his bumper if this was real world on that second outer wall.
Yeah, nicely done to start things out here in the top 8 between these two. Ernestus out front leading Alexander Element through the course and doing a good job doing so. Locked into this lead run, filling these outside zones, grabbing that first inside clip as well. Just locked into that track edge white line. Good transition across. Alexander Element doing a good job in that chase position as well to take advantage of this very, very good lead run.
Having some people from Ireland tuning in, saying it's 22 degrees Celsius out there. Don't know what that is in Fahrenheit.
What's a Celsius?
What's a Celsius? Oh man, one of my countries I always wanted to visit is Ireland. But definitely, maybe it's in my bucket list. We'll see what happens. But anyway, we're going to Alexander Element in the lead, and this is Jaku in the chase. Alexander Element using all the track to initiate going in there. Jaku is just keeping smooth and consistent throughout each zone and staying right there, mirroring the angle of Alexander Element going into outer zone 4 and 5. Huge fill out from Alexander Element on each of the zones.
Yeah, nicely done out front. I don't know if I liked it as much as Ernestus's lead, though. We'll take another look here. Maybe a little connection hiccup there along that initiation, but I think could have maybe had a little bit more angle through turn 1 as Element out front does create a little bit of gap there through turn 1, but Ernestus closing the door quickly and staying with him. Again, maybe a little bit more angle and could have been deeper in outside zone 5. But another tough one to call here in the top 8. Again, all through this entire event here at Mondello, it's been rough on these judges.
Yes, definitely has been. There's probably been like 2 battles out of the whole top 32 bracket that had been kind of clear-cut decision. We also got a clarification. It's 85 degrees Fahrenheit or 86 degrees Fahrenheit for Ireland. So it's about the same weather over here
warm.
in Florida.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So I would
wonder
be comfortable
what the
there.
humidity is like. That's the real question.
Yeah, that's true. We got left for Jaku, right for Element. And it's a one more time. We're gonna see these guys go back and run it through the gauntlet of Mondello. We'll see how these guys are out here just shredding tires. Great thing, like I said earlier, you don't have to worry about time of switching out tires. You've been in the pits or are familiar with the team going through tire changes. Man, some of these guys are real quick with it, but not as quick as virtual.
Yeah, absolutely. You can, just hit your button right back to pit, get yourself new tires, new car, and
It Element dives right in, uses some angle to slow himself down to outer zone 2. Here's Ernestes filling out outer zone 3, and Alexander Element is not letting up of proximity. Going to outer zone 5, Ernestes fills out each zone and rubs his back bumper against the wall, and Alexander Element is straight bullying him.
Yeah, absolutely insane here to the first half of this one more time battle. As we see Ernestes throw it in and Alexander Element do the same in that chase position, going a little bit wide for the inside clip, but filling outside zone 2 and 3 all the way to the track edge as both of those drivers as they continue on through the Manji section into outside zone 5, door to door, wheel to wheel there, getting a little nudge from the chase position and across the finish line.
Man, Alexander Element was literally rubbing his tire against the door of Jakku, and Jakku is unfazed. He's like, it's okay. It's another day. Now we have Alexander Element in the lead. Jakku Bellis in the chase. Winner moves on to the final 4. Alexander Element is in that GT86 Bitlook livery, having the possibility and the opportunity to knock out one of the top 3 drivers of the season. Alexander Element is coming out here, using that speed and momentum, going in, initiating beautifully. Here comes Jakku, getting that proximity right off the rip, not letting up, diving right back into the pocket, closing in that proximity to outer zone 3 and 4, giving him some room for the transition. Alexander Element fills out each zone, but here comes Jakku diving into the pocket as well.
Yeah, they're not making it easy for these judges here. We'll go back to the replay. Element out front, Ernestes in that chase position. Great initiation. A little bit smoother maybe in that chase position is Ernestes as they continue on. Element locked into outside zone 3 here. Driving out of it nicely, filling 4 and back into 5 along that wall, picking up throttle quickly, and Ernestes reeling him in, but not quite the same proximity across that finish line.
Man, these guys are out here just, like you said, not making it easy for the judges. Jakku, he's doing a great job pushing through, keeping his composure on each battle. It's great to see these kind of drivers out here. And if you guys haven't checked out the Drift Masters merch store, definitely check it out. Some cool shirts, hoodies, hats. And if you do, use the coupon code VDM, you get 15% off. And these guys are out here just shredding it and laying it out. I think the judges are coming to a decision on who will move on of this virtual Drift Masters sponsored by G2A and MetaPro. Please look at the spoiler of Jakku Bellis. It's Jakku for his nickname. Love it. Slide him right for Element, slide him left for Jakku. And it looks like Jakku Bellis gets the win and moves on to the final 4, knocking off the Bitlook driver.
Yeah, tough battle between those two. Again, they going one more time and then not making it easy for the judges there. I think it could have went either way, but Ernestes comes out on top, moves on into the final 4.
It probably could be down to the multiple like bumps compared to Jakku. Yep. That's where it comes into it. When you're having a smooth, consistent line throughout that, and then the chase and keep that close proximity, it's gonna look a lot cleaner compared to having a chase driver that's just tired bumping a little bit. Here we go. Darius Austriaca in the lead. Daniel Andrejev in the chase. Here is the initiation from Darius Austriaca. Filling out the first outer zone. Inner clip 1 is beautiful. And oh no, a little bit of contact from Daniel, but he's able to back off to give Darius room for the transition. And outer zone 4 is beautiful from Darius, rubbing that back bumper on outer zone 5. First wall, second wall, close proximity to it, but Daniel is filling out with him.
Yeah, we'll take a closer look here on the replay. We did have a little bit of contact, I think, before that first transition, but it does look like Darius kind of holds up just a little bit. Yeah, I think it might have been from lead rather than that chase position, closing the door. Daniel Andreev back there in that S13. They continue on either way, not really upsetting the run too much at all. Just a little note of the run. Really, that is all. Maybe a little shove there across the finish line for good measure. But you know, pretty even going into the second half of this battle.
Yeah, and we do have a little bit of a explanation on the ruling from the previous battle with the virtual Drift Masters rules. After the OMT, they actually take both battles into account and see who is more consistent and who is more fluid. And that's where Ernest has got the win on that one. But we have Daniel Andrejev in the lead, Darius Austriaca in the chase. Coming in, nice initiation from Daniel. Here comes Darius. Wasn't that proximity in? A little bit shallow in the pocket, but able to stay close proximity, using that left foot braking, stabbing at it to keep it all the way in the track and staying right into the pocket of Daniel Andrejev. Oh, mercy. Daniel Andrejev is filling out each zone like a straight baller.
Yeah, again, locked into that lead position out front, Daniel Andreev. So we go back to the drone view now. Darius Austriaca in that chase position and really jumping on the door quickly, but falls back just a little bit in turn 1, but then right along the bumper in a big dive and maybe a shove into outside zone 3. Daniel continues on like nothing ever happened. Makes a nice transition and locks into outside zone 5 right along that track edge, continuing on across the finish line. And we go to our judges here in the top 8.
Oh man, these guys are straight slayers out here, tire slayers, and it's great to see the caliber of drivers we have here in the sim world and going and battling in real world circuits. But now we got the judges' decision: right for Andrejev, left for Austriaca, and Andrejev gets the win, knocks off Darius, and Andrejev is going to be moving on to the final 4. Austriaca did a fantastic job. Now,
yeah, he certainly did. Just one more battle here in the top 8.
Yeah, we have Zach O'Sullivan. We have one guy from the podium the last round get knocked off. That was Darius Austriaca. So we have one guy from the podium in the last round, still in the final 4, still in the running. Zach O'Sullivan is our top dog from last round. Now, what are you guys thinking of? Who's going to be winning on the battle? On the left side of the bracket, it'll be Tarasov versus Jakku. But now we have, oh mercy, David filling out the first outer zone. Beautiful performance from him, filling out that second outer zone and third outer zone. But here's Zach O'Sullivan keeping that proximity as much as possible. And Zach O'Sullivan is diving into the pocket, getting wheel to wheel, door to door with David Mao.
Yeah, David making it easy out front, though. Just a really smooth lead out front in this S15 with Zach O'Sullivan chasing him down. Cuts the line a little bit is Zach, but we see David go a little wide for outside, or excuse me, inside clip 1, grabs outside zone 2 and 3 nicely with Zach right there. A little bit of contact on that first transition as well as they move through with the course and filling that outside zone 5 nicely as David just locked in to that line and across the finish line. We'll switch them up for the first half of their battle, or second half of their battle.
Yeah, we got Zach O'Sullivan, man, representing the United States as well as the VDC drivers out there. And he's just a consistent driver from what we've seen on the previous round to now. Now we have Zach O'Sullivan going to be in the lead. David is going to be in the chase. Zach O'Sullivan coming in with a nice initiation on the first outer zone. Inner clip is beautiful. Outer zone 2 is great from Zach O'Sullivan. Zach O'Sullivan is able to float himself right into outer zone 3. Use some left foot brake and diving in and to outer zone 4. And then rubbing that back bumper on outer zone 5 of the first 2 walls. And my goodness, Zach O'Sullivan also with a clean run.
Yeah, extremely clean out front, but maybe going a little bit too deep in a couple of these outside zones. It'll depend on how strict these judges really are. I mean, just right along the edge, right there at the beginning of outside zone 3. Hard to see from the drone there, but locked into the angle and the line. Just really good commitment out front. But David taking advantage, and we see Zach go a little bit wide for outside zone 5 as well in the beginning. And across that finish line, David right there with him, applying that pressure, looking good all the way through the courses. Both of the drivers, we may see another one more time here in the top 8.
These guys are out here. We're going to be seeing what the judges are going to be deeming. Looking like the judges might be coming up with a decision shortly. Zach O'Sullivan is also a spotter for a driver in the Formula Drift Series, Ryan Literal, and it's cool to see these guys that go from virtual to real world and being spotters and actually being involved with the real world environment. Cool to see, not only pilots but also teammates.
Yeah, it spans out pretty extensively at this point. Quite a bit of drivers out there. Dijon, another one that is involved in the real life series as well. Brandon Gardner, Brandon Patrick, affiliated with Triple F Performance. Just, list goes on. William Holloway with KMR as well. And then all the rear wheel drivers that are taking advantage of the sim. Whether they're using it for training or just having some fun or maybe building some confidence before a round or putting themselves in the competition atmosphere to really dial in that mindset is also a big one.
And it looks like the judges might have come to a decision. Zach O'Sullivan to the right, David to the left, and it looks like a split decision going to David. Wasn't unanimous, and David is moving on, being able to knock out the top dog from the last round.
Yeah, split call there. I think Chris wanted a one more time out of it, but that's not going to be enough. David moves on into the final 4, and what a final 4 we have coming up.
Yeah, we got, what was it, one person from the last podium from the last round, which is Jaku. He's going to be going up against a Bitlook driver's Tarasov, and that's not a easy battle, especially with Andrew versus David. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Now we're going to have the guys get ready and line up for the battles. The winner moves on to a guaranteed spot on the podium, and then the loser wins on to the battle to stay on the podium. What is out of these battles, these guys have been consistent. These guys have been absolute slayers out here. I don't want to make kind of assumptions on who's going to move on, because either of these competitors can move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Each and every one of them are super dialed in. I don't think it's going to come down to the leads. Every single one of them are putting on crazy, insane leads back to back to back. I think it's really just going to come down to those chase positions and not being too aggressive in those chase positions as well. It's an easy thing to do when you get to the end of the event to go maybe a little bit too hard and cause some contact in the run.
Yeah, and it looks like these drivers are going to be coming into the bracket. There isn't going to be another break. We're going to go straight through to the top four and to the finals. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. I've been enjoying my time here for Virtual Drift Masters. How you feeling, Craig, man?
I'm good, man. Again, from the start, top 32, it's been basically final battles all the way through this entire event today. Hats off to every single one of these drivers.
Yes, now we have our drivers lining up. Jaku is going to be in the chase. Stanislav Tarasov is going to be in the lead. Jaku is just making sure his tires are set up right. A lot of the guys, they do the burnout backs to kind of test out their peripherals to make sure that everything is working. This is a final four battle, so you got to make sure everything is working. Stanislav Tarasov is going to be in the lead with the Bitlook livery. And Ernest is Jaku in the chase. A 90 Supra. This is going to be straight up fist fight throughout the final four battles. The lights are green. Stanislav Tarasov in that GT86. See how aggressive he comes in here right off the rip. Huge initiation in that first outer zone. Inner clip 1 is filled out as well. Outer zone 3, tire drop possibly from Stanislav. And here comes Anestis, just keeping that proximity and staying as close as possible, not to make any contact that will upset the lead driver as Stanislav is filling out each zone.
Yeah, he certainly did. I just, again, locked in lead run out from Stanislav Tarasov. But Ernestes in that chase position jumps onto the door relatively quickly, does leave maybe a little bit of room for Stanislav to be closer in his chase, and then a little shove there in outside zone 3, drops back for that second transition nicely, and the third, Stanislav locking into outside zone 5 and hones in on 6, and there they go across that finish line door to door, and we'll flip them around here in the top 4.
Man, Stanislav did a good job. The judge is probably going to look at the outer zone 3, like we were talking about earlier, how possibly tire drop, that could be a huge mistake for him, even though it was minor. It's going into nitpicking now when you got these caliber of drivers in the sim world. Here's Jakubelis in the lead and Stanislav Tarasov in the chase. Jakubelis coming in here. Yellow A90 Supra coming in with a nice initiation. Here comes Stanislav, keeping that proximity in that inner clip and giving him some room. And Stanislav is keeping that all the way through, not letting him go. Jaku is filling out each zone beautifully, giving him some momentum from outer zone 4 to 5, filling out each zone. And Stanislav is doing a beautiful job in the chase.
A tough one again to call for these judges. Ernestes out front here in the second half of their top 4 battle, and Stanislav again, there it is, he closes the door quickly. A bitter proximity through turn 1, but he does have some bobbles on the angle. He doesn't quite make it as smooth as Ernestes, but Ernestes locked into the lead out front, making it super easy for Stanislav to stay with him throughout this entire course. We go to our judges, but we might have one more time on it. It's a tough one to call. I can't.
For sure, man. It's Jaku out there. I said earlier his nickname is on the spoiler, but he's been out there just shredding tires, looking like a slot car in the lead, and it's been very consistent through each battle. His lead laps have been absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, he certainly has, and with good momentum throughout the course as well.
Oh yeah, and going to chase runs, like if you don't have a good lead run, you're not gonna have a good chase. And Jaku is just keeping that lead run as clean as possible and say, hey, I want you to come as close to me. Let's see if you can match my angle. And Stanislav is anteing up, and he's like, you know what? I might have pocket rockets, and I'm gonna make you fold. You like that, huh? You like that? I know you like that. Know when to hold them. Oh man. And you have country music on your playlist all the time. Thinking about the Wild West, but here he is. Stanislav on the left. Jaku's to the right. Jaku gets the win. Guaranteed spot on the podium. Back to back.
Yeah, I think a fair call there between those two. Stanislav maybe getting a little too aggressive in turn one and having the little bit of bobbles. And then, yeah, as you pointed, the small tire dropping outside zone three. It's, yeah, real nitpicky as we move on in the bracket.
Yeah, it could have definitely happened for that tire drop. And Jaku is definitely now on cloud 9. Knowing that he's a back-to-back podium guy in the virtual Drift Masters. Now we have Daniel Andrejev versus David. David, he's out here to shred tires and stick doors. So here we go. Daniel Andrejev in that 180. David's going to be that S15. Daniel coming in with a nice initiation, real smooth and buttery, floating into outer zone 1 and 2, and beautiful transition. And here's David keeping that proximity, being as aggressive as possible, dabbing on that left foot brake to keep that close proximity of Daniel Andrejev throughout 4 and 5. And Daniel Andrejev does a great job in the lead going through that finish line.
Yeah, I like Daniel's commitment and line throughout the course here in his lead runs. We take another look, and he gets, I mean, just flying through the chicane and off to a really good start, locked into his line as he transitions for outside zone 3. I guess, you know, could have been on that white line, could have been maybe a little bit deeper, but I don't think really any need. It's just super smooth. He doesn't make any big corrections at all throughout the course, really opening the door for David. And David takes advantage here and there throughout the course. Could have been maybe a little bit more aggressive, leaving a little bit of room for Daniel to maybe take advantage of that moving into the second half.
Yeah, and with Daniel, it's straight showing that he doesn't have commitment issues like me, and he's able to commit to each zone and filling it out. I see you smiling over there, Craig. David coming in the lead. Daniel in the chase. Here we go. David with that S15, blue S15 coming in with a nice initiation going in that first outer zone. But here comes Daniel keeping that proximity right off the rip. David angles up to get that transition buttery smooth. And here comes Daniel sticking door to door, giving that room for that transition. David filling it out, rubbing that back bumper and rear quarter panel on the walls. And Daniel is right there with him.
Yeah, David doing a really good job to go super deep in these outside zones, but I think we do see a little puff of dirt here as he goes maybe a little bit too far after outside zone 2 here, where he could have drove off of it a little bit sooner. Yeah, you see a little bit of dirt there, but settles in nicely to outside zone 3, right along that track edge, drives off of it pretty good as well for 4, and then into 5. Daniel making a big dive there right into the pocket as they cross that finish line. Just, again, back and forth here in this top 4. Tough one for the judges.
Definitely a tough one for the judges, and the judges might have a decision sooner rather than later. These two guys, winner moves on to a guaranteed spot on the podium, and loser is going to be in a battle to stay on the podium. It looks like the judges have come to a decision. Here's our G2A judges board. Left for Andrejev, right for David. Unanimous for Daniel Andrejev. He's moving on to the battle of first and second place. David's still in the battle to stay in third place. Man, this is our bracket here, sponsored by G2A. You're going to have Ernestus Jaku versus Daniel Andrejev versus Stanislav Tarasov versus David. Wow.
Yeah, some crazy battles coming up, especially that finals. But first, that third place battle. I love it. I love this system in doing an actual battle for third place. Drivers get to battle it out to earn that last and final spot on the podium, and they're about to do just that.
Yeah, from beginning to end of this competition, it's been final battles. Like that's the caliber of drivers here. Here's a battle for third place. Stanislav Tarasov is in the lead, and here's David in the chase with that S15. Stanislav is going to be in that GT86. Bitlook is in the fight for the podium. Stanislav coming in with that GT86. Nice initiation going into that first outer zone. Use some left foot braking to stabilize his car. And here's David giving that proximity right off the rip, giving him some room. Transitioning a little bit late in the chase, but able to dive right back into the pocket of Stanislav. And here is the outer zone 5, where everybody has been getting door to door, rubbing bumpers, rubbing fenders.
At zone 6 across that finish line, door to door.
Oh my God. I don't know what these judges, I'm getting anxious for these drivers. Like these guys are probably like sweating a little bit, white knuckling their wheel, getting ready for that light to go green. David's going to be in the lead, S15. And then Stanislav is in the chase. See how they perform out here. Waiting for the judges to get ready. Here's the lights. David coming out here. Blue S15. Coming in with a nice Scandinavian flick going into that first outer zone, inner clip 1. And here's Stanislav keeping that proximity right off the rip, being able to be smooth and consistent all the way through outer zone 3. David angles up, going to outer zone 4, and then riding that back bumper onto that wall. A little bit of a contact made from Stanislav and going into outer zone 5 and 6.
Yeah, once again, the judges got their work cut out for them here as we take another look. David out front, big swing into turn 1, grabbing that inside clip. Little hesitation there, working himself into outside zone 2, and nicely done for 3 though. Locked into that track edge. Stanislav right along the bumper through those transitions, makes a big dive, almost looks like some contact, but it doesn't really affect the lead driver at all. They continue on, and we go to our judges here for the third place podium position.
And this is a battle that this could go either way for one more time, or either there's going to have a decision, and it goes into who made the bigger mistake.
Yeah, for sure. A game of mistakes, and it comes down to who makes the least amount of them, or, you know, how big those mistakes were.
We're having some of these comments in the chat saying Andrzejew's leads are just so perfect and consistent. He's just not human. Some of these drivers, I feel like they're robots, and there's some of them that they once in a while make a mistake, man.
Yeah, every once in a while. And they're tough to see. That's these judges again. I almost feel bad for him at this point.
Yeah. And it looks like the judges have made a decision. Here's our G2A judges board. Left for Andrzejew, right for David. And it goes to David, gets the win. David gets the win and getting third place. And now is our final battle for first and second place. Ernestus Jakubelis versus Daniel Andrzejew. My goodness. The craziest battle we're probably going to see on this track. Both of these drivers have been consistent. Both of these drivers have been top notch. And here is the first lap of the final battle. We're waiting for the lights from the judges. And from our 7-4, getting ready, Ernestus Jaku is in that 890 Supra. Daniel Andrejev is in that 180 SX. Here we go. Ernestus Jaku coming out here with that yellow 890, being as super aggressive as possible. Daniel Andrejev is diving in and giving some.
Picking up that throttle, a little bit of contact there in turn 1 from Daniel Andreev, but they continue on again like nothing ever happened, filling outside zone 3 into 4 now, into 5, and the dive from Daniel doesn't quite pay off until the end of the zone, and there he is crossing the finish line door to door.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if it's the battles or the energy that I'm getting from the caffeine, but my heart is racing for these drivers. It's been wild. And this is possibly our final lap of this Virtual Drift Masters round. You have Daniel Andrejev in the lead. Ernestus Jaku in the chase. Battle for first and second place. We're waiting for the lights. Here we go. Daniel Andrejev is coming out here with that 180. Nice Scandinavian flick into that first out of zone. Here comes Ernestus just hucking it in there and keeping that close proximity, giving some consistent proximity throughout outer zone 2. And now diving into the pocket of Daniel Andrejev all the way to outer zone 4. Here comes that wall ride. Beautiful from Daniel. And going into that second wall ride, used some left foot braking to tuck himself in there. But Jaku is getting doors, baby.
And what a tough battle to call. Might be the toughest one of the day. Daniel Andreev out front here on the replay from the drone. Great initiation, grabbing that inside clip. No contact through turn 1. Ernestus jumping onto the door quickly, staying in the pocket through outside zone 3, right along the bumper through both of those transitions as they work their way now through outside zone 5, out to 6 now, crossing the finish line for maybe the final time of today.
These guys are insane. I'm like so hyped up for these guys, especially with Virtual Drift Masters coming in here and showing up to give these guys a platform to show their style and their finesse. These guys are absolute monsters.
Yeah, they certainly are. Every single one of the drivers through the top 32, again, qualifying in the 90s and then showing out all day today through each and every single one of these battles. But these two came out on top for sure, and it could go either way here.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Here's our G2A judges board. Left for Jaku, right for Daniel. Who's getting first? And the judges go unanimous to Jaku gets the win for round 2.
Yeah, nicely
Beautiful.
done. Nicely done.
I love the enthusiasm from these guys. Jaku podium a second time, but moves up on the podium. Craig, how you feeling, dude?
Yeah, what an event. I mean, Mondello is known to put on just fantastic battles, and it proves it once again here, this time in the virtual space. This layout is one of my favorite across the world, and it was a joy watching these drivers tackle the layout today and just go absolutely insane on the battles door to door all day.
Yeah, and standings up here. Jaku is on the top of the standings now, shifted up the whole bracket and the whole standings. You got Jaku Bella is in first, Andrejev is going to be in second, and third is going to be David. So adding these points to the actual season standings, beautiful.
Yeah,
you got Zach O'Sullivan. Yeah, you got Zach O'Sullivan still in the fight for the podium. Stanislav Tarasov is now in third place. Darius is still in the fight as well.
Yeah, right behind 121, just 3 points behind.
Yeah, and you got also Brandon Patrick's in there. All these guys are out here. We're gonna be out here for in June 23rd for in Finland for round 3 of Virtual Drift Masters. So definitely check us out. Follow the YouTube, follow the social medias. Man, this is sponsored by G2A, MetaPro. I was an absolute pleasure, Craig. What do you got to say for this, man?
It's hard to come up with the words for it. Again, from the start, top 32. It was final battles all day today with every single one of these battles and these drivers. Lead runs just locked in, and then door to door between each and every one of them all day. It was tough to call, especially for these judges. I almost feel sorry for you guys, but you chose it, so you're stuck with it.
For sure. First and foremost, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time, and let's see how the actual Drift Masters continues.